go live on YouTube Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Many guests have shared their stories with host Denny Lennon, such as Super Bowl and BCS champions Brendan Ion Badejo, Peter Boulware, and Trevor Lawrence, three-time Olympic gold medalist Karch Karai, Kentucky Derby winner Doug O'Neill, NCAA champions Toby Bailey and St. John Smith, Hall of Famers Jimmy Lennon Jr., Rudy Tomjanovich, world champions Boom Boom Mancini and Tim Leary, AAU Sullivan Award winners Catherine Plummer, Sabrina Ionescu, and Spencer Lee, not to mention the head honcho, AAU President Dr. Roger Gowdy. We've also had best-selling authors Wesley King and Wayne Coffey, and our sports stories favorite, Norm Bass, the first African-American to play two professional sports post-World War II. Become a friend of the show on Patreon, and you can help keep the dream alive. Go to patreon.com/Denny Lennon or go to our website to see all of our social media links. If you have an interesting, unique, or uplifting story to tell, contact us on sportsstoriespodcast.com.
Coming to you live from Los Angeles. We're in the shadow of LAX. It's a top-rated video podcast in the Centinela Adobe Corridor. It's where we share a wall with the Korean United Methodist, and you can see St. Jerome Church from our back porch. We're in the 7428 studio where Jimbo and Marley run the show, and Buck kicks back until he's got to kick it out. It's SSDL Live at 5 on YouTube. Yes, indeed. We're live at 5. What do you know? What do you know? It's Prep to Olympians show. Hopefully, everybody's doing okay. We're dealing with a lot, but we're glad you're here. All right, let's get right to it. Is my family here? How about my St. Mark, St. Bernard people? Let's hope so. My VBC and AAU people. I hope you're all here supporting. Please chat on the side. You might have to subscribe in order to chat on the side. They could ask you a query. You want to chat? Join us. Please do. And first ever show, we're going to take calls. Really. So I put that out on our social media, on our Facebook, and on our Instagram, most importantly on Twitter. It's very clear there. Go to @SportsStoriesDL if you want to grab the number. Let's see. Top 5 states outside of California supporting the show. And I had to let our research staff know that Indonesia was not a state, but they are supporting the show. So welcome to my Indonesian friends. Hey, Alaska is coming in strong. And we got a story about Alaska, and that would explain that. North Carolina coming in. Oh, I know what that's about. We had somebody moving over to North Carolina to play high school basketball. Eric will speak to that. Michigan coming strong as they normally do. Florida, that's the home of the Amateur Athletic Union, of course, and always our number 2 state right behind California. OH, they do it. They do it all the time. Love it. Okay. Look, I know it's a Prep to Olympians show, but let's just catch you up. Lakers lost, and that's a bummer. Oh, here I am. Lakers lost, and that's too bad. But look, they'll be back, right? They're going after their 17th banner. Dodgers clinched the West. Hey, the Padres actually made the playoffs. Look at them. All right, Rams still undefeated, and the Pac-12 conference football teams have still not lost a game. Love that. All right, let's keep moving. What do we got next, Marley? Oh, Marley's producing the show. Jimbo is monitoring things, and Chris Allport is here manning the new audio board. Thank you, Chris. All right. Oh, what do we got? Shout outs, roll call. How about up this week? This week, this was on Tuesday. We always push something in on Tuesday, and we covered Jonas Never at Never 1959. We go into all of his murals around Los Angeles. He's the best. He's the focus of our Friday night show. We covered St. Mark. That's right. Not the one in Venice on the corner or right near Venice and Lincoln, but the one closer to the beach. It's a spectacular another spectacular work from Jonas. Hey, we're dropping Wayne Boley uninterrupted. When can you interrupt Wayne? Just doesn't normally happen. I did a little bit to get a question in. Wayno's the best. What a great story he's got. The LMU athlete and attorney. And Wayno knocking down his East Bay shot right there is the focus of our Thursday video. That's my brother, Gary. You know what? He's more than my brother. He's an accomplished artist and teacher. Some of his work is spectacular, and that's why I'm bringing him in to analyze the work of Jonas Never. Gary's not only a sketch and traditional artist, but he also was a muralist in San Diego. He did plenty of murals in San Diego before he moved to Oklahoma City. He also did many for housing developments that he would do up on the ceilings and so forth. And he also sat with the 1984 San Diego Padres And so that was kind of cool. So he'll be on to analyze that. That's going to be a really fun show because we're celebrating the work of Jonas Never. Okay? Okay. Also on the show will be Debbie Skaggs. Debbie Skaggs has a terrific foundation in her son's name. And Tyler Skaggs, of course, that's her son. That is the focus of a mural right there from Jonas Never. So that's how that connects. And we're going to be celebrating that foundation and getting you some important information. I'm sure you'll love it. All right. Oh, one other thing before we move on, just so you can plan, because I know you've been hearing about this guy, but this guy, that book, Jeff Pearlman has agreed. Yep, he wants to. He's fired up to be on the show, and he'll be doing that a week from this Friday. And this book just released yesterday, 3-Ring Circus, about Kobe, Phil, and Shaq and their time together winning those 3 rings in Los Angeles, and what a crazy time it was. Jeff Pearlman. All right, just turn on ESPN, turn on any radio. He's doing everything everywhere. He's coming on our show. I'm stoked. That's going to be fun. All right, let's keep moving. Speaking of Stokelos, all right, on Twitter, always activity on Twitter. Oh, yeah, let's first go to this. Okay, yeah, remember, it's 1 week at a time. We are asking, we're competing another Karch Kiraly versus St. John Smith. We're determining who's the best of the beach, or rather, who is the king of the beach. And we've asked a series of questions. They're tied at 2-2. The ever-important Game 5 is posted now at Sports Stories DL. You vote on whose partner was better. Ooh, Kent Steffies, who teamed, of course, with Karch Kiraly, or Randy Stokelos with St. John Smith. It's off and running. It should be pinned towards the top of my Twitter feed. Go there, take your vote. Voting ends in another 4 or 5 days. All right? Okay. All right. Speaking of Twitter. Oh, yeah. Just another regular day when I wake up and I got a brand new friend. Who would that brand new friend be, I wonder, after a very clever tweet? If you can go back for just a second there, Marley. Yeah, that's my new friend, James Worthy. Hi, James. All right. But look, see, right after Lakers Game 2 win, I talked about how the 4 of us in that picture had combined for, like 65 points and 23 rebounds and 7 assists. I thought it was hilarious. Guess who else thought it was hilarious? James Worthy, Big Game James, Hall of Famer, NCAA champion, NBA champion. Welcome to the SSDL family, James. Good to have you. Thanks for liking me. Okay. More than Jake Downey's ever done. Jake Downey's never liked anything I've ever put on Twitter. Yet I always have him on the show. It's crazy. Okay. What else we got going? I know we keep busy. Oh, yeah. One other thing. Okay. Think about this. Nothing since the days of Slater and Saved by the Bell. Mario Lopez just left your mind. Gone, right? Okay. So we go and do a live remote in Chula Vista. We bring up the fact that Mario Lopez was from Chula Vista. So we celebrated that a little bit. Then we hook up and we're friends with Jonas Never. He's doing this big mural for Hispanic heritage that's funded by the Peacock Network, and he's doing this. And guess who gets up on that mural? Mario Lopez. We're resurrecting his career. Watch. We're coming to you live from the West Coast. That's right. Jinbo's in the 7428 studio. I'm on location at beautiful downtown Chula Vista. Yep, where Mario Lopez grew up. That's right. Slater. He played Greg Louganis in a made-for-TV movie. And it's Slater/Louganis who beat out Karch Kiraly for the AAU Sullivan Award. All roads lead to Sports Stories. Mario Lopez. Mario. Chula Vista Holmes. Yep, back in our Chula Vista days. It's good times. All right, calling you out, Mario. Right? We do what we can. We do what we can, Mario. You would think you would give us a little acknowledgement. James Worthy did. Really? How about you? All right. Not bad, right? We saved that guy's career. Okay. I think it's time to introduce our first guest, if I'm not mistaken. He's a 7-time California Prep Sports Writer of the Year.
Jake
That's
Downey
right.
liked your tweet, by the way.
Oh, Jake Downey just came in and liked the tweet. Thanks, Jake. So Big Game Jake, they used to call him. All right. So look, but my first guest, of course, Eric Sondheimer, great writer for the LA Times. He covers preps like no man alive. We can't bring him in without a little bit of a walk up montage. All right, let's bring him in. The 7-timer, the Hall of Famer. No bigger Slater fan, Saved by the Bell fan than this guy, Eric Sondheimer. Hello, Eric.
Well, I appreciate all those looks at my terrible hair down the road. But thank you for showing those things.
Not that one shot. That one shot, you're coming strong.
Yeah. But I appreciate that. We always like to be on your show because you always have that surfer attitude that I enjoy. Talking to surfers is the best thing. You never know what they're going to say.
I was out in, I swim each morning in the ocean, actually, Eric. And today I couldn't make it through all the seaweed. And I got to look that up later and find out why there's so much. It's got to be a global warming issue, I suppose. Eric, question. Has James Worthy ever liked one of your tweets?
No, you're way up there. You're in good shape.
My 300 and your 80,000 looking a lot closer now. Yeah. All right. How about Jake Downey? He finally, now that he heard me say that, he finally, I don't know, but I appreciate you because you will retweet when you think I got something going. Eric, nobody's got their finger on the pulse of not only California athletics, but really the nation's high school scene. With if you follow you on Twitter, people will find that out. Can you fill us in a little bit about where we are? I think, most of us probably know, any activity starting in January, but some of the high schools are getting going now.
Right. There's several states that have reconsidered and are now going to play football and fall sports. I believe it was 27 that was playing high school football, and now 7 more are doing it. So we're getting up over 30, probably 35 or so. And California, though, is sticking with January, which I think is a smart thing to do because even though we're in a positive state right now, the numbers are dropping as far as COVID-19 positivity rates and deaths. So we're headed in the right direction, but still we need to keep everybody going and strong. We need to find out what happened over Labor Day to make sure that there were no changes. And I'm a little bit optimistic that there will be some kind of sports being played in January, but it won't be everybody. I know that for sure.
Yeah. One of the contributing factors is I know at least for like the Pac-12 reconsidering getting back to playing was that immediate testing. Is that something that's going to be available to more than colleges? Like would high schools have access to that kind of testing?
I would think at some point, if people want to pay for it, they will. The rapid testing is supposedly going to drop. You can get those for a couple bucks at some point. I don't know when that will be, November, December, January. Of course, we're all waiting for the vaccine, but that's not certainly going to be available for the majority of people next year. It just seems to me that we need to follow what other states are doing. They seem to be doing a good job in making sure that playing football is not a way to spread COVID-19. I think they're doing a great job with the mask and making sure that things are followed. And hopefully California will learn from that and try to implement that in an appropriate way.
I got a few items I want to kick around with you, but before we get there, I think one of the more difficult issues has to do with the LA Unified School District, which out here in California, generally refers to our public schools. And in the LA section, and they're going to have the most difficult time coming back because they have employment issues with the teachers, whether or not they're either going to be on campus, which affects, of course, their labor union, and it's just a lot more complicated situation. And it's another example of those kids not getting the same resources as others.
Right. It's definitely my big worry. I feel for them, the coaches. I feel for the kids. They're on their own. They have to find ways. They haven't met with their coaches since March, which is pretty amazing. If things don't get going in November, I think it'll end up being delayed again, the start of the season. Honestly, in the city section, I'd be surprised if football isn't delayed to February, and maybe they'll just have a league season and start out. I think everybody will be okay with that. They want to play some kind of football. But as you point out, I think the teacher unions really don't have sports in mind. Unfortunately, I think the coaches would be willing to go into the sports facilities and start working out. But again, once you open one sports facility, you have to open them all, and you have to have a safety way of doing it, which involves cost. And I don't think LAUSD is ready to do that, unfortunately.
One interesting thing is there's an LAUSD school that's near and dear to my heart because I grew up in Venice. My family's been around since 1915. I attended St. Bernard High School, which we'll get to in a second, but Venice High School, where, by the way, Eric, the producer of today's show, Marley Rice, two-time Western League MVP of basketball. She's, her career average right around 20 points a game, which I know you got to respect that. Now they're upgrading big time. In fact, even their football stadium is looking better. That's St. Bernard. Let's go to the Venice. There's a Venice High School one. So talk a little bit about how they got this going, Eric.
Yeah, well, lots of older schools in LA Unified are getting revised and revamped and new things. North Hollywood is out in the valley, Poly. And Venice is one of those that's going to have a revised field there. They put in a new track. Everybody remembers that dirt track, which was terrible. It's now all weather. They decided to have a grass field rather than an all weather turf field. I think that's fine. New bleachers, new press box, new snack shack. But beyond that, they're getting a new baseball field, a new softball field. They're building a new gym and other facilities school-wise. So it should be really nice out at Venice. And Angelo Gasca, the coach, has been there a long time, went to Venice, grew up in Venice. So he's legend. Enjoy it whenever they allow somebody to get on it. And so that's going to be the interesting part.
Yeah, legendary coach and long time. My family been in Venice since 1915. I actually have uncles that graduated like before 1930. I think we got actually a Venice graduate that's calling in, Jess Spano, and we're going to see if we can patch the first ever phone call on our Sports Stories live show. So let me put on the headset here so I can hear what's going on. And caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Eric, can you hear that all right, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Jess Spano from Venice. Apparently you went to Venice, Jesse?
Yes. I'm a former gondolier over here. How's it going, Eric?
It's been going well, and you will enjoy when you get to see your alma mater unveil its new field and all its new buildings that are going up.
I was going to say they're like about 7 years too late. Come on, I had to run on that dirt track.
I know. Anybody who did well on that dirt track, I have great respect for.
Now, I think you had a question, Jess, about whether or not they're going to be building a gym.
Yeah, I did have a question because their gym before, that's what I played an indoor sport. So the gym before was actually pretty large and nice.
Right.
I didn't know. I just want to know, is it going to be in the same place? Do you know about what's going on with that?
Right. They're getting a new gym. And you're right, because that's one of the bigger gyms out in the West Side. So I would think that it's going to be similar because why would you get a new gym and have a lot less people? Because that's important. I haven't seen it per se, but all I know is they're getting a new gym. And usually the way they do it is they make sure that the old gym is available unless they don't have the room, and then they have to tear it down and go on it. So if in fact they tore down the old gym, they're going to have to find another area to practice. Like at North Hollywood High School, they have a couple gyms, so that they're going to have one gym available and then build it on the tennis courts there. So they'll keep access to the old gym until the new one is available.
Jesse, go ahead, Jesse.
I was going to say, I think Venice actually had a smaller second gym too. They called it like the East Gym, so they could always use that. But I'm sure a lot of high schools don't have that luxury. Yeah,
but it'll be fun time because they definitely needed upgrades, and there's other buildings. They're getting a new science building, and so all the future students there will be happy, and the alma mater can go over there and talk about the old days running on the dirt track.
Yeah,
I love it.
Exactly.
Jesse, thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Okay, that was exciting, Eric. Wow, look at us. We actually have technology going. The other school I want to talk about was my alma mater, Eric, which is St. Bernard High School. I graduated there in '82. Yes, indeed. The basketball CIF championship was won that year. And they're upgrading their football field, which I played football there as well. And look at that new scoreboard.
Yeah, pretty nice. But they already upgraded with their new coach, Manny Douglas from Narbonne, who's pretty good, led the Narbonne to many city championships. And they've gotten a lot of new players in there who are very good. So I think the St. Bernard football program will definitely be one of those schools that are much improved over last season, if we have a season.
If we have a season. Friday night, on my show, Royce Clayton came on, and he was great. And we talked about some of the old days of St. Bernard, and we'd love to see that enrollment get back up there. How about as we move along now, I wanted to first talk about Mikey Williams and see if this is going to be a trend. That's Mikey Williams right there, and he was Max Prep's National Freshman of the Year in basketball. He goes to San Ysidro down San Diego way, and he's decided not to wait for the season to start. And he's going to a school. Is it a prep school in North Carolina?
I believe so. We've seen this trend in recent months. There's been a lot of basketball players leaving the area. It reverses a trend of where there were a lot of basketball players coming to the area the previous year. And so now they're leaving. I think they're concerned about California playing, starting the season in March and ending in June, how that's going to affect playing on club teams, et cetera, et cetera. And as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. I mean, we have plenty of great players here. Other ways, I mean, Michael Williams is a good player. He has lots of Instagram followers.
Yeah,
but I'd like to see him do well against top competition, and we'll see how much he's able to continue to improve in the coming years.
Yeah, I'm familiar with his game. It's outstanding. Now, he plays club basketball for the Compton Magic, so he comes all the way from San Diego up to Compton, where it's closer to LAX, and that's quite a drive to play on a club basketball team. But you do that when you want to be with the right players. And I thought he was going to head the Sierra Canyon way, maybe make that move to Chatsworth area, but he decided to stay in his community.
There's always next year. I mean, these players, basketball players and football players, and all the players have no problem moving. The parents apparently find ways. We have a football player who's been to 4 schools in 4 years, and it just goes on and on and on. So that's the way high school sports is right now.
We have a high school basketball fan. His name's Bob Lopez, Robert Lopez, I think. If he's on, let's patch him in. We'll show that old school. There it is. I love that. I love this graphic, Eric. I think it's spot on. Robert, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Thank you, Denny. First time caller, long time listener of the show. So big excited to talk to Eric about prep basketball.
You're literally first time. Well, you're literally a second time caller. Yes, our second call ever. Go ahead.
Yeah, Eric, I had a question. I think Denny was hearing the point. My question is, Mikey Williams leaving San Ysidro. Is this like the beginning of the exodus of more players leaving California to play at the prep schools because of the COVID-19 and schools not being able to participate? Or is this what we're looking for? I'm a huge high school basketball fan, and I'm just dreading the fact that a lot of talent might leave California because of this. I don't know if you can enlighten some of the things you would know.
It's begun already, and we've lost several. But I think that people will still be able to play this fall and winter with travel ball. There's already discussions of high schools forming club teams. They just have to decide if the risks are worth it in this environment we're in, as far as traveling around, and the parents and the coaches and the kids want to take that risk. Otherwise, obviously, we still haven't gotten clearance to have a whole lot of indoor activities. That has to continue to improve as far as the COVID-19 positivity rate. So I understand they want to do that. I don't understand why, because he's already getting recruited, and unless he wants to be a pro immediately, and that's another factor that's coming into play, here in the next year or so, that the high school kids are going to be able to be drafted by the NBA, and the NBA teams are already hiring high school evaluators, scouts. So that's going to be, I think, a more important situation evolving than anything to do with these kids leaving because of COVID. We've already had players decide not to go to college and instead to play in the league here in LA. And so those are the two things that are going to, that people are most going to be concerned about. So I don't know how much we're going to be able to see these top players for free in the coming years. I think they're going to be wanting to get paid.
That is fascinating. Thank you, Bob, for calling in. Appreciate you. Let's move over to another story, Eric, about Dylan Klein and the Klein family. You recently wrote a great article, in the LA Times, that I read online, and talk a little bit about his legacy. Because when I was growing up, I loved football and I loved to go out for passes, and I wanted to be Bob Klein because he played for the Rams, and that's his grandfather. And this is Dylan, who is a standout athlete at Loyola High School.
Yeah, I remember Bob Klein. I loved the Rams and loved him as a tight end. And it's just an incredible gene pool in that family. I covered his father, Jimmy, who was a two-sport standout, volleyball and football at Loyola and Stanford. His mom played in Hawaii. His sister, Kristen, is a 4-time volleyball All-American at Stanford. He's got cousins that were volleyball players on 3 national championship women's teams at Stanford. He's got a sister and a cousin who play for Marymount volleyball. His uncle Patrick was a great volleyball player at Loyola. It just goes on and on and on, and they love sports there. He now likes surfing and bodyboarding, and he's just a great kid, only a junior. But most interestingly, he picked USC. Mm-hmm. And so before Stanford canceled its volleyball program, so that was great timing on his part to pick USC over Stanford.
No doubt about it. And his grandfather, Bob, played for USC, I guess, on that 67 national championship team, blocked for OJ back in the day. And so that's just, it's like his dad, his grandfather rather, has this really interesting place in sports history. And then just everything that came, like you mentioned, is fascinating that there's that many good. And I understand he's got huge leapers, the younger Dylan.
Right. He can jump, and decided not to play football as a freshman because his dad and his grandfather both had injury issues. And so thought volleyball would be a safer sport. And he came to like it and came to love it. And he's going to be a great player. He's already almost 6'5", and I look forward to seeing him play this, hopefully this winter, because girls and boys volleyball are going to happen at the same time. So the family's going to have a little bit of a problem. Yeah. Marymount and Loyola are playing at the same time. You know, they're going to have to pick and choose. Do we go see the sister, the brother? Do we go see the cousin, Carrie, or whatever? So who knows?
Yeah, that's hilarious. Actually, that's fun. They'll have to make that decision. And, you know, I was wearing this in honor of my son, who was on the 2009 Loyola High School state, or rather regional CIF, and they were named the national champions. And I got to give a shout out to my cousin, Mike Boley, who coaches the Loyola program. And so, you know, hopefully we can get Dylan on the show and talk him up a little bit. Those are some fun stories. Eric, I want to give you the option to check out, or did you want to say hello to Jake Downey? I would understand 100% if you wanted to just check out. I get that.
I'll be happy to say hello if he comes on immediately here.
All right, let's bring him right in before we play his walk-up, which is hilarious, by the way. Well, let's bring – hey, Jake, you want to say hi to Eric?
No, I'm too busy liking your tweets.
He's a great North Hollywood grad and always supports the Huskies. That's his one problem. He always beats North Hollywood. But congratulations, Jake.
I can tell you that the only time I was ever struck out by a future big leaguer, it was Jeremy Hernandez from Poly.
There we go. Good pitcher. I remember him.
Yeah, I love it.
I can't say I've ever been struck out by better.
Hey, Eric, always appreciate your time and your insight. It's brilliant. We always get the scoop on some stories, and we appreciate that from you. So, you know, enjoy your golf time and keep tweeting.
That's right. Thank you. And let's get football and all sports back here in California.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you. Eric is the best. Jake, let's play your montage.
Let's get it.
Hey, football season is over. Soon the finals go next weekend. We'll be getting rid of the pigskin and moving on to basketball. The ball sure bounces a lot easier. Hi, I'm Jake Downey, reporting for Cox High School Sports On Demand. Hey, it's game time. Redondo Union and Peninsula. You can hear the noise. It's going to be a full house here tonight. It's a Bay League opener, and Redondo Union, the team in red, is one of the best teams in Southern California. Hi, I'm Jake Downey reporting. Hi, and welcome to Fontana, where sports fans around the world the last couple of years have come to know this place for the glistening new racetrack, the California Speedway. Hey, Brent, it's a strange business. College football coaches, grown men making their living, convincing 17-year-old boys to come to their school. Their whole livelihood consists of how they do on this day. Hi, I'm Jake Downey reporting. Hi, I'm Jake Downey. In Long Beach, I'm Jake Downey reporting. And you know what? That's sports. I'm Jake Downey for Daybreak OC. You have yourselves a great Monday.
Two things, Jake. We have resurrected your career like we did with Mario Lopez, and give the kid that basketball back. Jesus.
That is one of my funnier moments. I'd also like to thank you for juxtaposing the skinny Jake and the fat Jake. Can you just go with the skinny Jake? Just can we stay frozen in time 25 years ago? Just go with those clips.
I don't. Okay, we'll work that out. I'll talk to my editor. You might know him. Jake, I got a question for you. Or actually, I talked to you. We always like to dive into the vault, and you have so many great pieces of what we now know as like these great professional athletes back when they're in high school and the like. And so we've done a few of those, and those have been great. But this one is brilliant. I mean, I'm loving this piece that we got to watch a little bit of yesterday, and I want to let all our viewers know that when they watch this, just keep in mind it's about 9 minutes, but it's well worth your time because what you got a chance to do with some NFL players and go up to the most northern part of Alaska and really give these young people something they'll never forget, huh?
Yeah, it's still the wackiest story of my underpaid and difficult career in broadcasting. It was the summer of 2008. It was an election year, just like it is now. So that was kind of what was going on in the world. But I got a call a few days before and said, "Can you get to Barrow, Alaska on Friday?" And it was probably like a Tuesday. And it's 105 degrees here in the valley, and I'm packing winter clothes to go to Alaska. and then the other thing you don't consider about flying from LA to Alaska is, in my case, I flew for 13 hours on 5 airplanes, and I changed 1 time zone.
Woof.
Usually if you're flying 13 hours, you're changing a lot of time zones. But
that's a trip.
No, it's just 1 hour ahead. So one of the most interesting things, and you'll see it in the piece, is the plane you take from Anchorage up to the northern slope. Because the first about 20 or 25 rows of the plane is storage. So they have the you could put a Hummer inside the plane, and then the last 20 or 25 rows beyond storage are people. So like the windows are just kind of blocked out between the captain's between the cockpit and then the back half of the plane. And that's really the lifeline to this little village of 5,000 people at the northern tip of Alaska, because you can't drive there. And the only time you can take a boat there is in the summer when the ice is melted enough. So I got there in early August, and this is not in the piece, so I'm not over doubling up on this. 2 weeks later, the annual barge was coming from Anchorage with people's cars and building supplies and other big things that they may have bought in Anchorage or ordered in Anchorage, and then it was barged up. And so that was something that they were really excited about, because that's stuff that either you have to overpay to get it shipped on a plane, or you have one shot a year to get it on the barge from Anchorage in the middle of August. And then, you have another year before you got a barge again, or you got to pay apparently, let's say you buy a car in Anchorage and you want it to come up there, you got to pay like $7,000 to put it on the plane.
Jeez.
So, there's just getting through daily life up there because of how cold it is something that, us here in the lower 48, I don't even think that the people in the south half of Alaska, like around Anchorage, really fully grasp the challenges up there.
Okay.
They are 2 different parts of the same state, but it's an enormous state. So that's kind of the backdrop for going up there. I loaded all my cameras. I got up there. I'm following 6 guys, 5 players and a coach. And if you want to play the story, we can let it unfold and talk afterwards.
Let's do it.
Greetings from the top of the world, where the local time here is 3:45 in the afternoon. But you know what? These are the days of the midnight sun, so it might as well be 3:45 in the morning, because when you can see the sun, it shines 24 hours a day up here at the top of the world. There's plenty of light from the night sky. Behind me is the Arctic Ocean, and you're not seeing things. That's an enormous block of ice, otherwise known as an iceberg. The actual North Pole is 1,100 miles that away. Now you're probably wondering, why are we here? Would you believe a football camp at the top of the world on a blue piece of synthetic turf?
FBU Alaska on 3, be nice and loud. 1, 2, 3, FBU Alaska!
And 6 retired NFL players and coaches are here with Football University, FBU, a group dedicated to teaching football technique to the next generation of elite athletes. After touching down on Friday night, the FBU contingent had to stay out of sight until Saturday afternoon. Offensive line coach Irv Eatman, defensive backs coach Perry Williams, quarterbacks coach Chris Miller, running backs coach Blair Thomas, receivers coach Andre Rison, and linebackers coach John Fonts tried to keep a low profile. The local athletes were told they were coming to a football clinic. They had no idea that 6 NFLers had come to the top of the world to coach them. Irv Eatman, all 6'8" and 300 pounds of him, had a particularly difficult time laying low late Friday into early Saturday. Maybe it was that white velour sweatsuit.
Well, you know, my clothes didn't show up, on the flight. So I'm figuring that my only other option, since I may be the biggest guy in this part of the world, that I may have to go out and punch a polar bear in the face and take his outfit.
I want to thank you guys for letting us come down and be a part of your wonderful story when it comes to football here in Alaska. And let me introduce, who are my quarterbacks? Raise your hand, quarterbacks. Come on up, guys, come on up. Get my quarterbacks up here.
Starting with the passers, players came up to the stage where they watched a highlight reel of their position coach from back in the day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Miller.
It's just seriously amazing. I couldn't imagine a program of FBU's caliber coming up here to pretty much teach Barrow and the surrounding villages on the slope how to play football. It's just, specifically the techniques of football. It's just amazing.
Barrow, Alaska. I love it. I've been around the whole world, but I haven't been to the top of the world. And now I'm actually at the top of the world, so it's kind of a good feeling. And then when I met the kids, that was sugar on the top.
1, 2, 3, ready? Oh! Ooh, not bad for the first try. Let's do it one more time. Let's dial it up one more time. Here we go, get the hands going. 1, 2, 3, oh! All right, nice job. That's it, good balance. Can I lean on you now? Huh? Can I lean on you? Huh? All right.
I'll tell you what, we're at the top of the world right now. We're in Barrow, Alaska, and I'm loving it. I got a great group. Doesn't get any better. You know, a lot of people didn't think they played football up here, but that's the great thing about football. We play it everywhere, and they even play it up here, and they know how to play it damn well.
Over with the linemen, one player said he dreaded a certain drill because he wasn't very good at it.
Practice the things you don't do well, guys. You know what? And it's human nature to want to practice things you do well. But that's no good. That's no good. Because all you do is get better at the things you already know how to do. You don't get any better at the things you don't do well. Okay? So force yourself to practice the things you don't do well.
Good change of direction, transition. Body lean and body balance is important. Over here. Coach is going to give you the ball. Now look at me now. Keep your head up. Good body balance. Go. Come on. That's it. Back. Come on. Quick. That's it. Get out. Go. Come on. Now sit. Go. Good. I like it. Better.
The curriculum at FBU is equal parts football and real-world instruction.
You know, you don't want to destroy your well-being and perhaps your family's well-being by making a stupid decision. You know, trying to be a tough guy. Well, you know where most of the tough guys are? They're in two places. You're dead or in jail. Neither one of them is a real good place to be.
Go mad. What did that mean? Go make a difference in your life. Anything is possible. And that's all it is. It's believing that you can achieve in life. And I proved to all the naysayers that I could do something. And you can prove it too. No matter where you begin, it's how you end. Just go mad and make a difference, okay? Good luck to you guys.
But the experience of being on the North Slope of Alaska and meeting its people also left its mark on the FBU staff.
Barrow High wills.
Go FBU. I'm freezing.
But not so freezing that 3 in the FBU contingent could be deterred from braving the icy cold waters of the Arctic Ocean.
When you come this far, you might as well get a great experience from the whole thing. It was very refreshing, very cold, but it was one of the best things that I could say I accomplished.
And they were all out of water, I think, in under 25 seconds. In my mind, they're 3 of the dumbest guys I've ever seen, and probably 3 of the bravest, so I guess you could put the 2 together. Andre, he was impressive. You know, he went down and he didn't hesitate. You know, he got a full speed run and ran in. Matt, he did a nice job going in. He got full submersion, so I was impressed with that. The MVP goes to Blair Thomas. I mean, he went in, dove in head first like a real man.
I came up from Oregon on 5 different airplanes. Took about a day to get up here. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, to come up here and see your village, we took a tour on the school bus to get to come up here and see the type of environment you guys live in. You know, we have a genuine appreciation for how y'all live up here. The ice rolling in on the Arctic Ocean was awesome.
I really don't even want to talk about football. I know some of you guys are eager to learn about it, but I want to talk to you about life. Talk to you about life. Life, man.
As you might imagine, there are not a lot of activities in the Arctic. These kids, we have a lot of kids from broken families, and getting to spend 2 to 3 hours a day with positive male role models, knowing that they're cared about, it gives the boys a lot of pride, and I think because of that, we're going to change the future for a lot of these boys.
I've always felt like, as a coach, my greatest obligation was to inspire kids to be the best they can be, whether it be on the football field or whether it be in a classroom or whatever.
We had terrible dropout rate. We had more kids dropping out than graduating. We put a survey out, and overwhelming. I mean, in the villages and in Barrow, the #1 thing kids wanted to do was play football.
Messing with drugs, skipping school, missing out on something, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna come see you. Well, I'm gonna have my goon squad here. I got a goon squad here already. I'm gonna have my goon squad see you. I'm telling you.
And all of a sudden, our attendance rates in the fall went up, our attendance rates in the spring went up, our completion rates went up, our graduation rate went up, and the previous high school principal would tell you she attributed all to football.
Everybody say polar bear on one. One. Polar bear. Everybody say polar bear on one. One. Polar bear. Polar bear, baby. The go route. Wait, everybody. Don't come on.
In Barrow, Alaska, I'm Jake Downey reporting for Football University.
Jake, you've done a lot of fun pieces. I think that one was the one that I appreciate the most. That was such a strong story what those guys and they did through Football University to inspire those young people.
It was fun to watch that. I talk about it, but I haven't really spent the time watching that back in a couple of years at least. And it was inspiring to see the connection that those players and coaches made on the young men and women of the North Slope. And, that's 12 years ago. So all those 15, 16, 17-year-old kids are now in their late 20s, maybe 30. So maybe it'd be fun to check in and see where some of them are. I know that the Barrow High School team was in their second year playing varsity in Anchorage, and then they would have to fly home and then come back the following week for the finals. We were actually getting the band back together that October to fly up to Anchorage if they had been in the finals. We were going to have all those same guys on the sidelines for Barrow High if they had been in the championship game, but it didn't work out.
What was the I would imagine the reception for this piece too was strong. Did they get together to watch this, or did you send it up their way, or how did this get broadcast back to them?
It was strictly a YouTube piece. We did try to make a show out of it, and we pitched it around, and we didn't get many nibbles. So we just said we'll do it ourselves, and that's the beautiful thing about YouTube is you no longer need any permission to put your piece of work out there, which can be said about this podcast and any other podcast. You don't need permission anymore. So that's one great thing of the digital age. Everybody has a voice. But no, I would have loved to have expanded it from, say, that 9-minute piece to a half-hour show, and fleshed out the interviews and told more stories. Just as an update, I think John Fonts, who was the brother of Wayne Fonts, if you remember, the coach of the Lions, John Fonts is retired and living in Virginia. Irv Eatman, last I checked, was living in Texas. He had been an offensive line coach with the Chiefs and the Raiders, but he hasn't done that in a few years. He had some interesting stories about Al Davis and also working with the Chiefs. Chris Miller is still a high school coach in the state of Oregon. I don't know if you remember Miller at the University of Oregon and then in the NFL. He was one of the first guys, and this was 12 years ago before concussions were such front and center. He retired because of concussions and has been an advocate for concussion awareness. And in fact, when we were just kind of sitting around and having some adult beverages, he turned to me and said, "Hey, can you tell me that story again? Because I've had too many concussions."
Oh boy. Rough. Yeah.
Now Perry Williams, who won 2 Super Bowl rings with the New York Giants and butted heads with Bill Parcells quite a bit. In his career, he was such a speedster and a shutdown corner that in I think 9 years in the league, he gave up 13 touchdowns.
Jeez.
And I might have that backwards. Wow. It might be that he gave up
the other way.
Yeah. 13.
That's impressive.
Whatever it was barely a touchdown a year playing on the hot corner.
Unreal.
So all these guys, it was fun for those few days in Barrow. I'm sure they would say the same thing. I can't believe I went to the North Pole, essentially,
how about,
to put on a football camp.
Right. And how about the 3 that took the polar bear dip, including Andre Rison? You'd think at least TLC's, left eye would build him a fire when they got out. Okay, no more inappropriate jokes, Jake. We got a caller coming in.
All right, bring it on. Love it.
Let's see what we got.
Caller 3.
Mike. Is it Mike Scott?
Yeah.
Hi, Mike Scott. Mike, I understand you're a football fan, ex high school football player.
Yes, I played some high school football in the Midwest. Grew up playing some cold games on the frozen tundra, but man, I gotta tell you, Alaska looks like it's a lot colder. I was just curious. I had a couple questions actually. It's like, first of all, I know you're up there in August, but they must be playing on some frozen turf up there if they're playing some football. And then I was just curious, what made you decide to go all the way up that far in Alaska?
Well, I'll back up a couple steps. We put on an FBU camp in Seattle, and there was a fellow in the piece, the borough superintendent, whose son was one of the players at Barrow High, and they came down to Seattle for the FBU camp, and they got to talking with the powers that be at FBU, and the borough, the school district, essentially was able to offset some of the costs of getting all the people up there. So they wanted to bring this type of expertise and curriculum in football to their new program. They were only a second-year varsity program, and that's another interesting story because the superintendent said that that football came about because there was such push from the community to give the kids something to do besides basketball, and that it kept kids on the straight and narrow and in school and caring about school and doing better, because they wanted to stay eligible to not just play basketball, but to play football. So it was a big community push. So the next level was for the district to bring in this type of teaching, but it wasn't just for the kids in Barrow. They flew in kids from the fishing and hunting villages of the North Slope. And that borough up there is about the size of Minnesota, and it's essentially, they call the counties boroughs up there. So, I mean, it's an enormous plot of land. It's like the top quarter of the state of Alaska. And so you had kids coming from all these different villages. Some of those villages are landlocked, and the only way in is plane. And then even the villages on the coast are, you can maybe get out in the summer, kind of like I was saying about the barge. You can get out in August, but for the most part, you're still snowed in. You got to be able to fly out. So the district brought in any kid who wanted to come. So it was a district-wide thing. Secondly, that blue turf, that wasn't there the first year they played. They played on a dirt field in town, and the kids were having high ankle sprains. And they were really struggling, and they were chalking the lines with flour from the kitchen because they didn't have any chalk. But then the seagulls were coming in and eating the flour. So truth is stranger than fiction. There was a big media push prior to us getting there a couple of years before when they played football above the Arctic Circle, and it was on all the networks.
Right.
A woman who is a football mom in Jacksonville, Florida, saw that story, went to church, prayed on it, decided she was going to bring a synthetic turf field to Barrow, Alaska.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. You can't make this up. Her name is Kathy Parker. Her son, Kyle Parker, played Major League Baseball and also quarterback at Clemson. Her husband, Carl Parker, played in the NFL with the Bengals. I think he was on the '89 Bengals that lost to the Niners. So total football mom. She made it happen. She pushed the ball up the hill and got synthetic turf to Barrow, Alaska by the next year.
Wow.
And also engineered hosted the team from Barrow in Jacksonville, and those kids had never been in humidity like that in their life. So it's really a remarkable story, and all the things that it spawned from it. And we kind of came in after that, but that blue turf is the product of the hustle and the ingenuity and the creativity of Kathy Parker of Jacksonville.
Mike?
Yes.
Making sure.
I hope I answered that question.
Yeah. Yeah, you answered a lot of questions, Jake.
It looks like you were freezing up there. I mean, I can only imagine the kids playing football in that all the time.
But remember that they start in August and they're done. I think the state championship games are like October 17th. So it's getting chilly, but it's not Arctic cold by October 17th.
Mike, where did you play high school football?
I played in Michigan.
Oh, okay. How about a little shout out for your high school there?
Wyoming Park.
Wyoming Park in okay.
Well,
I love
Wyoming,
Midwest football.
Michigan, yeah.
Wyoming, Michigan. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, one more question, and then I'll move on. The football university, fantastic idea. That mentoring program. I mean, honestly, you can tell you're changing kids' lives. I mean, just is it evolving? Is it still around? What's going on with it?
The guys I work for that were part of it parted ways, and so if it's out there, I don't know what it looks like now. So I would just say run a Google search on it and see what's still there. I mean, it was kind of next level curriculum for junior high and high school football players. And I certainly did plenty of shows about camps around America. And it was almost exclusively taught by retired NFL players and coaches. Sometimes that's one and the same. So the teaching that these kids are getting at a young age is phenomenal. And so they would show up for a weekend. They'd have a orientation on Friday night in a high school auditorium or a hotel ballroom, and then Saturday on the field, Sunday on the field. And, it was a jam-packed weekend.
Yeah, I looked them up, Jake. They're still, the website seems to still be active. They're and then I followed them on Instagram, and they were posting some stuff. So I think they're still in the business of doing camps and clinics. Thanks for the call in there, Mike Scott. We appreciate it.
Jake.
I like our what do you think of our graphic there, Jake, when we have a caller coming in with that payphone? It's pretty solid, huh?
That's ingenuity.
Yep. It's like we're moving forward and backward at the same time. All right.
The other thing I was going to tell you, you'll find this interesting, is Barrow High has, when they play a road game, they've got to fly south. There are no road games where they get on a bus. So that was one of the impediments as well, getting people to come up and play them and also flying south. They would either fly to Anchorage or Fairbanks and then get a bus, and they might have to drive 6 hours from the airport. And then they pay for every school to come up and play them, because some of those school districts down south that didn't have oil money, they can't get on a plane and send 50 kids and administrators and coaches.
Right.
North. So Barrow playing football is an expensive proposition. So they fly every team in to play them, and they pay to fly and play people on the road.
No, yeah, it's out here in LA, we have to get on a boat and go to Catalina to play Avalon High School. So we know our form of, sacrifice. It's not exactly a plane at the top of the world, but it is a boat 20 miles.
Yeah, it's close. Those are always interesting stories, and we never got to go with you.
Let's dive in one point. I got some Avalon stories That guy Mike Scott, I'm sure, has got some Catalina stories as well. We got to go over this one day. Hey, Jakester, I love the Vault series. I hope you got some left in there because I know we've told a few already, but you've been around doing your thing for so long. Oh, look at this! 10 years ago, we got Jake in his handling his business right there. So we're gonna keep these going. We love dropping these Vault series. Appreciate you coming on, Jake.
We're just getting started. I got more to give you.
I love it. Big Game Jake, baby. All right. Not as good as Big Game James, my new buddy, but Big Game Jake always delivers. I love the Vault. Okay, that was a cool story. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you, Eric, for coming on per usual. He's great. We got a little box cobbler, and then we wrap it up with the Kick It Out Buck. Hey, Friday, it's gonna be a fun one. All right, Debbie Skaggs and Skaggs Foundation, very important. And then Gary Lennon's going to come on and break down Jonas Never's art. This is going to be cool. So we hope you'll join us on Friday. All right. It's Box Cobbler. Kick It Out. I'm Mario Lopez. Thanks for joining.
I met a gin soul ballroom queen in Venice. She tried to take me upstairs for a ride. Yeah, the lady, then she'd cover me in roses. She blew my nose and then she blew my mind. She said, sports stories. Yeah, give me sports stories.
Thanks for watching and listening. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is produced by me, Marley Rice, and Christine Jinbo, and edited by bad boy Bobby McCall. Original music courtesy of Lennon Music Production, and original images courtesy of Sienna Lennon Photography. A big thank you to all of our contributors of the show. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is a production of Sports Stories, Inc. and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you watch and listen. Make sure you press that subscribe button, give us a review, leave a comment. It will really help us grow the show. And you know what else will help us grow the show? Head on over to patreon.com/Denny Lennon to get some never-before-seen videos, pictures, interviews, and so much more. We are all over social media and constantly sending out clips on Facebook, conducting fun polls on Twitter, going live on Instagram, and more. To find all of our social media links, head on over to sportsstoriespodcast.com. SSDL proudly supports the My Stuff Bags Foundation and the Heroes Movement. Links to how you can support and help these foundations can be found on our website. We also want to give a big thank you to all of our partners of the show. So, as Coach Lennon would say, any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me, Marley, at info@sportsstoriespodcast.com. We want to thank all of our followers and listeners, and we will see you next time.
Check it out, Buck.